Welcome to my build showcase for my Cyclone Cast on Crit Righteous Fire mapping character. Key aspects include, well, obviously Cast on Crit Dagger, Rise of the Phoenix for high fire resistance with also Purity of Fire. I'm using a custom damage taken setup with Molten Shell and armor gear in general, because evasion just doesn't really cut it, and you don't want any energy shield whatsoever to make sustaining Righteous Fire easier. I have about 6k life, so that puts me at about 640 regen. I'm just using a 5 link. I could probably afford a 6 link, but I went for investing my currency into the challenges instead, so my gear is just average. You could have this in like week 1 easily. Yeah, I guess a key aspect of this build are the flasks. So I am running an anti-burn flask, which is also an instant flask. This is the only flask that does not recharge on crit, and it's basically only used when I'm actually in a really bad situation and going very low on life. It does multiple key things. First, it obviously heals me, and second, it deactivates Righteous Fire so I can make full use of my regen. Then I have another life flask. This one recharges on crit, and since you can't have instant flasks that recharge on crit, um, it's an eternal flask, which has slightly better life regen per second than a divine for this purpose, and it has anti-bleed. So any of the Surgeon's flasks are virtually 100% uptime if I need them to, and this means I can counteract any bleed I encounter. And it also obviously acts as life regen tool because I'm not sustaining Righteous Fire by a lot, even if I were to run Vitality, which I could. I have one leveling and used one before. So I have a slight degen because I don't have a level 21 Purity of Fire or am running Vitality. So this flask gives a good chunk of life back. I'm using a mana flask because I don't have any real way of sustaining mana, and well, Blood Magic Keystone is too far away. I don't want to run Blood Magic at the main link. And the Mana Flask has the great benefit of virtually constant uptime. And when I say virtually constant uptime, I mean it is actually always up. It needs 4 charges, which is 4 crits. Yeah, I have Curse Immunity on here just so I can remove curses whenever. This Ruby Flask is actually really key because, for one, activating it grants basically full fire resistance and means I have my full life regen as long as it's active, which is whenever I'm fighting basically. And it grants a substantial increase in armor, so my armor goes from 7.5k to almost 11k. Providing ample defense against physical attacks in most maps you'll encounter. Maybe not the highest level ones, but that's an entire story for itself. And then I have an anti-freeze and chill flask, a Quicksilver, which makes moving around in chilled ground maps a lot easier, which is like a lot of the maps you run in the mid map range are like chilled grounds, so it's really helpful, and it means since you can also keep this up constantly while cycloning, it means you don't have to worry about freezes, about chills, about chilled ground. Yeah, it's just convenient, and move speed obviously helps for moving around in maps. I'm not using Willing Blades for traversal, mainly because it can't go above around cliffs, and Flame Surge can. Flame Dash, I mean. It's just personal preference, I guess. Last but not least, I already touched on this. You can kind of customize the auras as you want. I'm running Curse on Hit, Herald of Ice, Assassin's Mark, and also Vengeance in this link. So this means that against big packs, I get power charges from killing stuff with Assassin's Mark on it. So if you have enough clear speed, you can kind of sustain your power charges, which you can't really in any other way. And Vengeance means if you're actually in a fight where lots of stuff is hitting you, you will actually have Assassin's Mark applied to everything around you, which really helps increase your proc rate for Cyclone. I have linked I just realized Purity of Fire is linked to faster casting, but it doesn't even matter. Faster casting, Righteous Fire, so you can activate it quickly. Also to Ice Golem, so it comes out quickly. Without faster casting, you could have marginally more mana due to Purity of Fire, but it doesn't matter, really. Herald of Thunder and Arctic Armor are what you could use as replacement. It's really personal preference too, I guess. Like, Arctic Armor means everything around you is gonna be chilled. You're not gonna really benefit from the damage mitigation too much because your main defense comes from your flasks, and for those to do anything you need to be cycloning, so you're not standing still. And the damage mitigation only happens while standing still. Yeah, I guess that covers it. Let's get into some gameplay. I have this Beyond Volcano map here. I'm just gonna try to go through it quickly, not pick up much loot. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll get a Beyond boss.
This way, exile.
Hello, Xana. I think we'll do you later. Actually, we might as well have a look what there is in store today. Find the lodestones in a 1 temp precinct. Later. So I know the clear speed doesn't look like I have tons of DPS, but that's mainly because you need to actually proc Ice Novas and Flame Surges on packs, and due to the kind of spiky nature of cast and crit, it means yeah, thanks. Where was I? Yeah, means that there's kind of substantial overkill involved most of the time.
I have nothing more to give.
So for normal pack clearing, this DPS should be sufficient up to very high level maps. And for that very reason, I'm actually, as you might have noticed already, or if you read the build guide, I am running Fortify in my main cast and crit link, which is like scandalous, I know, but it really means I have Fortify up whenever I want to and whenever I need it. And yeah, I could Wielding Blades every few seconds or something, but it just feels very inconvenient, and this way you can focus on managing your flask correctly, how to position correctly, where to engage, just feels way better in gameplay in my eyes. And again, you don't really need the DPS. Like, you can add another spell here, but it's not going to do much for your clear speed. Maybe increased AoE would help, but I think having 25% damage mitigation from Fortify up completely reliably is way better than doing slightly more damage. So there's that.
Can I not have but a moment's respite?
It's another question, I suppose, is in the air. Why would you do this build with Righteous Fire? Why not just go normal Fakener? Well, I guess I like playing Cast and Crit a lot, and I like exploring the options you have. So I don't think this build is more effective than Fakener. I do think though that it's way more defensive, at least in the parts where killing stuff quick doesn't actually count as a defense.
I have nothing more.
And there will be a second video showcasing how this build does an elemental reflect map without any real issue. Also a 77 with monster life. So there's that. And aside from, I guess, I mean, you can't run Righteous Fire in all maps, obviously, with this. Come on, move. Oh, that might have been a mistake. So yeah, you can see the shield ground is actually not hurting me. I mean, it's not doing anything for him. And in this fight I can constantly keep up my Ruby Flask. So I actually have my full 650 regen, or 640 something regen going for me the entire time during this fight. I can, on top of that, have the Eternal Life Flask layered. I don't take virtually any of the fire damage, and the small physical hits, which also come inside here, also basically deal nothing. So I just potted with my instant flask, resulting in my Righteous Fire ending, so I had to disengage for a moment. Again. You only get limited uses on your instant flask, obviously, but you should be able to manage any boss within a given amount of re-attempts anyway. Like, at some point it's just not viable to keep trying. So yeah, we're done with this map, I suppose. No, I guess we missed something, but that was the boss. No particularly beyond happened, but yeah. I think I explained the build to the point that I wanted. I'm sure I'll find something that's missing once I've uploaded this, but yeah, that's the build. Thanks for watching.